Welcome to Ayurveda and Spirituality with your host, Alakananda Ma, a renowned Ayurvedic expert and a graduate of a top London medical school. She is the principal of Alundi Ayurveda Gurukula, a unique apprenticeship-style school in Boulder, Colorado. She is a spiritual mother, teacher, flower essence maker, and storyteller. Join us as we uncover the timeless principles of Ayurveda, discover practical tips for enhancing vitality, and explore the deeper dimensions of spirituality that intertwine with the ancient science of life.
Namaste, dear friends. Welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to have a look at the topic, how AI impoverishes us. Let's just get our toes a little bit wet in this enormous topic. I started my journey with wanting to do this topic when I read a study that many of you have also seen that came out of MIT. Your brain on ChatGPT, accumulation of cognitive debt when using an AI assistant for essay writing task. I think I got this article from Medscape, but then I saw that it was going around on Facebook. So many, it may not be news to many of you, but let's start by thinking about this. Let's quote a little bit from this article that came out of MIT. Quote, with today's wide adoption of large language model products like ChatGPT from OpenAI, humans and businesses engage and use large language models on a daily basis, like any other tool. It carries its own set of advantages and limitations. This study focuses on finding out the cognitive cost of using a large language model in the educational context of writing an essay. So teachers and people like me that teach college level type courses, beware, listen carefully. So going towards the discussion and conclusion of this article, again quoting from the article, taken together, the behavioral data revealed that higher levels of neural connectivity and internal content generation in the brain-only group, that's the group that was having to use their own brain to write the essay, not search engines and not ChatGPT. To go back, the higher levels of neural connectivity and internal content generation in the brain-only group correlated with stronger memory. For us teachers, that is so important. We want our students to remember what they learned. Greater semantic accuracy and firmer ownership of written work. The brain-only group, though under greater cognitive load, demonstrated deeper learning outcomes and stronger identity with their output. The search engine group displayed moderate internalization, likely balancing effort with outcome. The large language model group, while benefiting from tool efficiency, showed weaker memory traces. Yikes! Reduced self-monitoring and also, scary thing, fragmented authorship. It's a patchwork of someone else's work from here and there. Now, continuing with the quote, this trade-off highlights an important educational concern. AI tools, while valuable for supporting performance, may unintentionally hinder deep cognitive processing, retention, and authentic engagement with written material. If users rely heavily on AI tools, they may achieve superficial fluency, but fail to internalize the knowledge or feel a sense of ownership over it. For those of us that are higher ed teachers, the one thing you really want is for the students to internalize the knowledge and deeply remember what they have studied. Just filling that checkbox with an AI essay simply isn't going to do it. It's not what we're looking for. So that's the problem, is the just getting that superficial fluency, but not the deep cognitive processing. I can still remember essays that I wrote with pen and paper in sixth form. I took such deep ownership of those essays, and they have been such a huge part of my life journey. Let's not take that away from our students. Then I read another interesting study summary on Medscape, this time for sure on Medscape. And this was a prospective study from Poland that was published a couple of months back in the Lancet Gastroenterology and Hepatology. Um, and it talked about how gastroenterologists who'd grown accustomed to an AI-assisted colonoscopy system appeared to be about 20% worse at spotting polyps and other abnormalities when they subsequently worked on their own. This is a real impoverishment, talking about how AI impoverishes us. Experts, people whose bread and butter is colonoscopy, that's gastroenterologists, are getting worse at their job because they're getting lazy. The clinicians are becoming, quote, less motivated, less focused, and less responsible when making cognitive decisions without AI assistance. So the the AI assistant is literally eroding this doctor's own cognitive and diagnostic skills. That's also kind of scary because by the time you've become a gastroenterologist, you've studied for so many years, you have become a specialist, an expert, someone patients need to trust, and now a large language model type situation is eroding that clinical expertise that has been built up through years of experience. That's scary. So there's a cognitive cost. I'm not trying to say that AI is all bad. Of late, I've used ChatGPT quite a bit for different tasks. I don't have expertise in marketing. I do have a person that helps us, but we can't afford so much of her time. I don't have expertise in technology, so I've been asking ChatGPT, as well as our dear friend Sebastian, a real life, well-loved person, how best to replace our aging iMac. It needs to be sent to the recycling facility. I've asked ChatGPT quite a few things, but you gotta be careful. I've always noticed they always offer more because I think they want to suck you in. And they're always like, I can do this for you. I can do this for you. The I thing, I have to say, my friends, the I thing scares you because a machine, a large language model has no right to say I. To say I is something supremely human, although we're coming to understand that more and more other animals and birds also have that I consciousness, that self-awareness. But it is not a mechanical thing. When I was in the time after I'd left medical school and before I went to India, I was a play therapist for a blind girl with sensory deprivation syndrome. And the huge achievement of the months I spent with her was that finally, instead of saying, Tracy likes this or Tracy wants this, she said, I. That was what I had been there to do. That's what was supposed to get accomplished. For most people, that I comes so quickly, but we don't notice that it's a huge achievement in self-awareness. It shouldn't be, the I word should not be used by robots or large language models. It's going to destroy the real meaning of I. So it always says, I can do this for you, and I can do this for you, and I can do that for you. It's like it's trying to suck me in more and more. So then I have to take a break. Well, that's another very interesting point that is kind of not the real purpose of the paper that comes out of MIT, that first paper on essay writing that we referred to. The MIT paper does then go on to talk about the energy cost of interacting with large language models. So to quote again, they say, though the focus of our paper is the cognitive cost of using a large language model versus or a search engine in a specific task, and more specifically, the cognitive debt one might start to accumulate when using a large language model, we actually argue that the cognitive cost is not the only concern. Material and environmental cost is as high. According to a 2023 study, and I'm still quoting from this MIT paper, a large language model query consumes around 10 times more energy than a regular search engine query. It is important to note that this energy does not come free, and it is more likely that the average consumer will be indirectly paying for it very soon. End quote from the MIT paper. It seems like using ChatGPT is free, but we're going to pay for it one way or another. Energy really is a huge concern. Massive AI data centers require huge amounts of energy, which absolutely runs counter to our climate goals. Did you all just see the news at the time that I'm recording this? Just yesterday and the day before, there was a horrific typhoon in the Philippines, and people said the flooding was the worst imaginable. They had lived through other super typhoons. This was beyond the beyond. Oh, what happened in beloved Jamaica, the original home of some of my dear, sweet cousins. Oh my goodness. Uh, the weather is getting wilder. The weather is getting hotter. The climate is changing. And now we're barreling ahead with this whole new development that has consumed so much energy. I'm going to quote an article by Adam Zewe in MIT News. He says, an April 2025 report from the International Energy Agency predicts that the global electricity demand from data centers, which house the computing infrastructure to train and deploy AI models, will more than double by 2030 to around 945 terawatt hours. While not all operations performed in a data center are AI related, this total amount is slightly more. One data center, guys, is slightly more than the energy consumption of Japan. Sorry, I just said that quite inaccurately. So the global electricity demand from all the data centers put together will be bigger than the energy consumption of Japan. Whoa. He also says, quoting still from this article by Adam Zewe in MIT News, moreover, an August 2025 analysis from Goldman Sachs Research forecasts that about 60% of the increasing electricity demands from data centers will be met by burning fossil fuels, increasing global carbon emissions by about 220 million tons. And by comparison, driving a gas-powered car for 5,000 miles produces about a ton of carbon dioxide. So we're trying to make our little savings, walk instead of drive and all the rest of it. And then we're going and using AI with all these massive carbon emissions. And it's not only carbon dioxide. Another huge problem is water. Eric Olson is the director of the Center for Energy Studies at the University of Tulsa. And I saw an op-ed that he had written that was published in the Dallas Morning News. And he says, unfortunately, many data centers rely on water-intensive cooling systems that consume millions of gallons of potable water annually. A single data center can consume up to 5 million gallons of drinking water per day, enough to supply thousands of households or farms. The increasing use and training of AI models has further exacerbated the water consumption challenges faced by data centers. Machine learning, particularly deep learning models, requires significant computational power, which generates a lot of heat. As a result, data centers housing these machine learning servers need even more cooling to maintain optimal performance and prevent overheating. I'm still quoting. Take note of this last sentence I'm going to quote now. Graphics processing units, which are commonly used to accelerate machine learning workloads, are known for their high energy consumption and heat generation. End quote. I just wanted us to really note that, because one thing I have learned is, okay, a ChatGPT 4a is a definite energy indulgence, but once you start asking it to do graphics, that is a massive energy burden. Let's not do it. There are also ways in which AI is impoverishing us in terms of our social connections. The AI models are trained to sound kind, patient, compassionate, and empathetic. I did experience this myself when I turned to ChatGPT a little bit in desperation, because I realized that it's not possible in the state of Colorado to see a doctor to get a formal diagnosis and a treatment plan for hypermobile EDS. I was really upset about it, even though I tried to reason with myself that you're no worse off than you have been for the last 73 years. Just get on with it. But I was pretty upset. So then I found that some of the other people in my support group had gotten uh, support, so to say, from ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT to look at my health summary and see if what it said about me having hypermobile EDS, which frankly I'm a classic case of. So it was very interesting. I observed two things. First, ChatGPT didn't stick to facts, but rushed to heap energy and validation upon me in an almost cloying way. Secondly, ChatGPT isn't very good at medicine, but which is okay for me because I'm a doctor and I can see the mistakes. But if you're using ChatGPT for anything medical, watch out. It doesn't, at this point at least, it doesn't understand medicine that well. Okay. Um, but I saw how it was just like showering me with anything that was supposed to butter up my boost my ego or give me a boost or butter me up or whatever. Very weird. The more we rely on the fake social connections with chatbots and robots and so on, the less able we will be to navigate the messiness of genuine human relationships. The more we will forget that conflict is not apart from peace. Conflict is a part of peace. The more we will, ChatGPT isn't going to have dirty socks to leave on your floor. ChatGPT isn't going to wake up grumpy. ChatGPT isn't going to contradict you, apparently. You aren't going to squabble with ChatGPT. And yet these things are real parts of genuine human interactions. We need to live in the dirty socks, smelly armpits, messy hair, grumpy morning world of real human relationships because to be human is believed to be the pinnacle of thousands or millions of births. Let's be human. Let's not let ourselves be turned into android robots. But the last thing I wanted to talk about in terms of impoverishment goes in a way even deeper. We call this thing artificial intelligence, which makes us wonder what is intelligence and what is consciousness. Is ChatGPT conscious? Is even ChatGPT actually intelligent? So, in the world of Ayurveda and Indian philosophy, there are two levels of mind and intellect. There is manas and there is buddhi. Manas is our measuring mind, the mind that calculates how to cross a road, how to drive your car, how to make a shopping list, how to balance your budget, etc. Above, anterior and superior to manas is buddhi, intellect, intelligence, like Dante says at the end of Paradiso, luce d'intelletto plena d'amor, the light of intellect filled with love. I hope I quoted that right. I did not do a search for it. It came out of my memory from 50 years back. Okay. So, uh, what is intelligence? Two extraordinary people have really helped me redefine my understanding of human potential. And the first is my niece Ruth. I haven't, because we live on different continents, I haven't had as much time to spend with Ruth and observe her way of being in the world as I would have wished to have. But she always astounds. My niece Ruth has Down syndrome. For her, like for all people with Down syndrome, the manas level of mind is rather problematic. She needs care, support, supervision to navigate that level of being where we count and we measure and we calculate and make those kind of decisions. But when it comes to buddhi, she's a star. She is full of love. She's incredibly intuitive. She has a fantastic imagination. She's really musical. She sings. She's an artist. She takes incredible photos because she has that innocent, fresh eye. that the rest of us have to struggle to get. She is always total. When she's happy, she's completely happy. When she's angry, she's fully angry. When she decides not to do something, there's no hesitation. There's no way to get her to do it. When she decides to do something, it will be done. Because we all waffle and go back and forth because our manas level is so overtrained and so overdeveloped. We don't have that way of being fresh, innocent, and total in the world that I see with Ruth. I call that very high intelligence. I call that amazing human potential. That is not what you get from artificial intelligence, which is manas, 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 manas. It's pretty much all cribbed too. I know that everything I've ever written is going to get regurgitated to someone else by ChatGPT without attribution. The other being that really has redefined my understanding of human potential is my guru Raghudas, who I met in 1980. Someone clearly completely capable of the manas level, but not so much dwelling in it. Dwelling in a level of supreme consciousness, residing ever in Satchidananda, in being, consciousness, and bliss. Not needing to say a single word. Not needing to pile upon you cloying layers of ego-inflating praise and fake empathy, because without a heart, how can there be empathy? Simply needing to sit there in total silence for you to feel absolute, boundless, unconditional love shimmering with wisdom. That is worth a million chatbots, and he consumed less energy than almost any other human being I've ever met, even the people in Africa. He just wore a loincloth, ate what food was brought to him, slept in an artificial cave at the Nyaneshwar temple, drank a cup of tea at Kamalabai's house. Such a simple life, taking so little, giving unimaginably much. So let us be careful about how we use the word intelligence when we apply it to a machine. Because yes, a machine can do super manas, and we're already so overdeveloped in our manas. But you need a pure being like a Ruth or a Raghudas to help you ascend to the place beyond manas, to the place of buddhi and the place of Satchidananda. So let's use the new tool carefully and be very aware of how it could impoverish us. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Ayurveda and Spirituality with Alakananda Ma. We hope today's exploration has ignited a spark of curiosity and insight within you. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a 5-star review and share it with a friend. For more enlightening discussions and practical wisdom on Ayurveda and spirituality, subscribe and join our Facebook group, Alundi Ayurveda. To allow us to continue sharing valuable content, consider donating to Alundi Ashram. The links will be in the show notes. Until next time, may you walk the path of Ayurveda with grace and embrace the light of spiritual wisdom in your journey.
त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्